Welcome back to episode 102 of Teachers in Transition, the podcast and the YouTube channel. My name is Kitty Boitnott. I am the founder of Teachers in Transition, the owner of Boitnott Coaching. And if you've listened to this podcast or watched the YouTube channel in the past, you know that I alternate topics each week. One week I talk about stress management strategies for teachers, and then on alternating weeks I talk about career transition strategies for teachers who have decided that they've had it, it's time to leave. They want to find something that feels less stressful, more fulfilling, maybe is more financially rewarding. In other words, they're ready to move on. And I offer career coaching for those teachers who are ready to make a career change. But for the teachers who've made the decision, nope, I'm not going anywhere, I'm sticking right here, but I'm still feeling pretty stressed out and some days even overwhelmed, I am offering some strategies to help you get through these last weeks and months, however long it may be, of this school year. You know, the good news is, and there is good news, that now that people are getting vaccinated more quickly than we had even anticipated maybe a week ago, I have my vaccine scheduled for tomorrow, the day after this recording, and I'm looking forward to getting it. And I was surprised at myself at the sense of relief that I felt when I got the vaccination appointment, and I knew that I would have that behind me soon. And I really felt sort of emotional, frankly, when I heard the announcement that there would be enough vaccines for every adult in the country to be vaccinated by the end of May if they wanted it. That was such a dramatic change from end of summer or early fall. So I feel like we're seeing light at the end of the tunnel. The dilemma and the good news about that is that I think probably by next school year, when we would ordinarily gear up in late August or early September, I think we'll be pretty much, as far as schools are concerned, getting back to what looks like normal, or at least more normal than it has in this past year. I'm also thinking about this week and next week being the anniversary or the year marker for when schools were closed just suddenly and definitely in March of last year. And so we've been through a lot this year, and it's been anxiety producing and it's been stressful. And now that we see the light at the end of the tunnel, we begin to feel a little bit of relief, but then perhaps that means letting go of some pent up anxiety along the way. So anyway, I promised in the last episode when I talked about stress management, I promised that I was working on a presentation that could be used as a series to help you get through these last weeks of the second part of the 2021 school year. And I talked about mindset and the importance of developing a positive mindset, being part of creating an outlook that has an upbeat attitude, so that you can manage to get through these stressful times more readily than you would if you have a downcast attitude about yourself, or if you only focus on the things that are going wrong in your life, including at school. This week, I want to talk about the importance of practicing healthy habits as part of your stress management strategy. And in my book, and I'll include a link to the ebook as well as I recorded a webinar presentation about these 7 strategies to help you get through the end of the school year. And it's free, so I'll offer the link to that. I'm also going to share with you the link to another webinar presentation that I recently recorded um, at the request of a university that I have worked with in the past, because they're getting more requests from teachers who are looking to make a change for next year if they can, then they can handle. They're getting more calls and requests than they know what to do with, and that's not really their area of specialty. So they asked me if I had something, and I did. So I'll share the link for that too. It's about the Jumpstart Your Job Search process minus the sales pitch at the end. So you might enjoy both of these presentations. So let's talk a little bit about healthy habits that can help you to feel more resilient and to manage your stress more effectively and proactively. The number one thing that you can do, and it doesn't cost any money, you don't have to sign up to go to the gym, you don't have to do anything other than keep a glass of water handy and sip all through the day. You want to be drinking enough water to keep your body and your mind, your brain, hydrated. We often, especially teachers, don't like to hear that they need to be drinking more, because when you're in the classroom and unable to take a break and you need to take a restroom break, it's difficult, right? It's a dilemma, unless you have somebody that you can call on to come in and watch your kids so that you can run and do your thing. The point of staying hydrated, though, getting hydrated and staying hydrated, is that once your body is acclimated to having the proper amount of liquid in it, it won't send you to the bathroom so often. Part of the reason you run to the bathroom a dozen times a day the first few days that you're concentrating on drinking the recommended amount of water is that your body's not used to it. And so it's eliminating it as fast as it can. But if once it becomes acclimated and it realizes, hey, I'm fully hydrated and humming right along, then you won't have to go so often. So that's the first thing. Stay hydrated. Drink water or green tea. I mean, I'm a green tea drinker, so I supplement a lot of the water that I should be otherwise drinking with the same amount of green tea. You cannot and it's zero green tea. It doesn't have any caffeine in it. It doesn't have any sugar in it. So consider whatever you might want to substitute your water with needs to not be a hyphenated drink, and it needs not to be a drink that has any sugar in it. So Coca-Colas don't do it. Pepsis don't do it. Any kind of soda don't. They only dehydrate you. Coffee dehydrates you. So you want to be drinking water or some similar facsimile. And you want to be drinking about 2 ounces per pound that you weigh. So you can do the calculation. You want to start first thing in the morning. After a night of not drinking anything at all, your body's more dehydrated than usual. So you want to be drinking plenty of water in the morning. And then as you move through the day, you can start tapering off, and you don't want to be drinking a lot of fluid of any kind past dinner time, too far past dinner time. Otherwise, you'll be up in the middle of the night, which interrupts your sleep. So you don't want to be doing that. But you need to stay hydrated. The second thing that you need to do for a healthy habit is to eat well. And that means to select fresh fruits and vegetables, produce that's straight out of the fresh produce section of the grocery store, as opposed to the can and frozen section, where you can get plenty of vegetables, but they've been processed, so they're not as rich in nutrients and minerals. Your body also needs the minerals and nutrients in those fresh fruits and vegetables. So you need to be concentrating on a diet that will replenish the nutrients and minerals that you flush away each day, and you need to replenish those. So concentrate on eating foods that are rich in minerals and nutrients. You also want to get the sleep that you need. That's a different amount, frankly, for everybody. Everybody has their own unique set point that they wake up feeling refreshed after 5.5 hours or 6.5 hours or 10 hours. The average adult needs somewhere between 6.5 and 8 hours of sleep. And if you aren't getting that amount of sleep on a regular basis, no wonder you're feeling tired. No wonder you're stressed out, because your brain needs the time overnight to flush out toxins that build up in between the cells of your brain. Each cell gets rid of some protein toxin. It's a protein material that can become toxic if it isn't flushed out of your system every single evening. In fact, there are some studies that show correlation to early onset dementia or perhaps even Alzheimer's if you're someone who doesn't get the kind of sleep that you need. So figure out how much you need and then create a schedule that allows you to get the amount of sleep that you require to be fully productive and creative. A Duke study shows that if you don't get the sleep that you need, it impacts your creativity, but additionally, it also impacts your productivity and your mood. And we've all known people who are cranky. We've all known children, right? We've seen them have their little meltdowns in the middle of the afternoon, and that's a sign that they need a nap. Well, adults need their 6.5 to 8 hours of sleep or more every night, or else we have our own mini meltdown, which is a signal that we need a nap. So get the sleep that you need. Try to work into your routine every day some form of exercise, stretching, aerobic, anaerobic. If you can't get to the gym so that you can use their equipment and work up a good sweat, at least go for a walk around the neighborhood. Your body needs to move. And in order for you to function properly, you need to get the appropriate amount of exercise. Now, appropriate's different depending on your age and your physical stamina. But in general, 30 minutes, 5 days a week is a good rule of thumb to do something physical. You also want to be sure that you are making time for yourself to indulge in a hobby, something that you enjoy doing that takes your mind off of the stressors in your life. So whatever that may be for you, watching a movie, reading a good book, calling a friend and catching up, whatever it is, and there are things. Someone said to me the other day, because I was sharing with them something that was stressful going on with me, and the recommendation was, well, try to think of something you would do before COVID that would help you to relax and decompress. And I said to her, in the old days, I would have gone to a movie. And one of these days I will be going back to the movies because I enjoy going to the movies. I ended up finding a movie to watch at home instead of going to the movies. But I did manage to decompress a little bit over the holidays. So those are some of the main things that you want to keep in mind as you are trying to minimize and mitigate the stress in your life. And in future episodes, as I talk about the other aspects of how you can manage and mitigate your stress During the final weeks and months of school, I'll offer some other thoughts about things that you can do that might help. But what I talked about the last time, mindset, and what I talked about today, healthy habits, work hand in hand. You need to work on both. And as I add on strategies in the next few weeks, I would urge you to try to incorporate as many of them as you can. So if you want to go ahead and watch the webinar presentation so that you know what the other 5 strategies are, that's fine by me. Use the link. It's an evergreen, which means it's up all the time. You just choose the time that you'd like to watch it and or listen to it. And there is a program that's offered, but it's offered at a price that whatever you want to pay. I offer that it's a $49 value, but I offer too that you get it for whatever you want. So it's one of those deals where you decide how much it's worth to you. Sorry. I thought I had turned that off. So that's it for today. I want you to concentrate this week or these next 2 weeks before I talk about stress again. I want you to think about how you can incorporate these healthier habits into your day-to-day routine so that you can be more resilient and you can manage the stress of getting back to normal. I mean, let's face it, that's not going to be without stress. We've sort of grown accustomed to this insulated environment that we've created for ourselves. And so in the early weeks of getting back with people and socializing in a more or less normal way, a pre-2020 way, that's going to require some thinking and planning and strategizing and can perhaps be stressful in and of itself, but it'll be a good kind of stress. You just need to think it through and make sure that in the process, everybody who's going to be involved stays safe. At the end of the day, if you can get vaccinated, get vaccinated. As soon as your opportunity pops up, get yourself an appointment. That's what I did. And I highly recommend that you do that if you haven't already. Continue to wear your mask. Continue to stay safe. And I will see you next week talking about career transition strategies again. Until then, have a wonderful week.